Hello people, welcome to the MACHINEZ channel. Today I'm just going to be talking about my pre-ride maintenance checklist on the SUR-RON. Basically this starts for me straight after my last ride. I've got 9 post-ride maintenance tasks that I perform, so the bike is ready to go when it's needed next. Hang around and I shall go into more detail next. So often these basic tasks are overlooked. They have the potential to halt your ride-in time, when these simple maintenance tasks can help prevent failures. Well, number 1, they're going to help keep your bike in tip-top shape. Number 2, they're going to help prevent damage to your bike. And number 3, they're going to help keep you and your bike safer. Basically, they're going to help make your next ride successful. Number 1 is clean, dry, protect. That's really easy then. I give it a bit of a hose pipe down, then I'll get out the bucket and sponge. Once it's cleaned, I then give it a thorough dry. Once it's dried, I'll then give it a nice coat of silicone spray. It's like moisturising the bike really. But whilst I am drying it, I must add, I'm also looking for loose bolts, missing bolts, broken parts, and I'll make a log of that ready for the next phase. Moving on to number 2. This is where, when I was drying the bike, I might have noticed a problem or noted some issue. This is where I can go back and sort it out now. But my main task here is just check every nut, bolt, there's nothing missing or loose. I check there's no broken parts. If anything is broken or missing, this is the time for me to go and order it up now. You definitely want to check your pinch bolts. So many people seem to lose these. I'm not sure why, but I like to put a bit of lock thread in there, and so far so good. This is where you get to know your bike and you can also give it the care it requires. Don't forget, a well-maintained bike is a healthy bike, and respect your bike and it will respect you back, hopefully. Number 3 is chain and sprockets. I give them a quick visual, check there's no broken teeth or anything out of the ordinary. If I'm happy with that, I move on to the 3 rules. Tension, align and lubricate. Check the chain slack and adjust that accordingly if needed. Make sure that it's still aligned properly in the back wheel. Then I can move on to lubrication, give it the chain a nice coat of oil. Not too much though, I don't want all the dirt sticking to it. This is mainly just to help prevent rust. Number 4 on the checklist is my fork seals. I like to check that they're really clean. I might use this little seal mate, or possibly I get a nice rag and I just make sure there's no grit or grime or dirt just left there. Just helps give your fork seals a longer life, I suppose. But you'll be surprised how much dirt can get stuck up under there where you can't see. And at number 5, we've got the primary belt. Just like the chain, I like to give it a visual inspection first, so I take the cover off, look for any kind of fraying or damage to the belt. And I'm also checking that there's no debris lodged behind here which could potentially damage it. Once I'm happy with the visual check, then I can move on to the same sort of rules I follow with the chain, which is tension, align and lubricate. So I check the belt's tension. If I'm not happy with that, I will re-tension it and align it properly. And then I like to give my belt a little bit of a tension. I give it some sort of lubricant onto the belt. Just wipe that off. I try to do that process as often as possible because these belts can dry out quite a bit and they squeak. So this helps prevent the squeak, I think. Number 6, tyres. This is where I assess them for any kind of damage and wear and determine if they will last another ride or not. If they won't, this is the time to order up a new set. Obviously, I've got some nice fresh tyres on here, so I'm all right this time. I know tyres are the most important thing. They are literally, it's their little pad of rubber which is connecting you and your bike to the ground. They have such a big job and so often people overlook them. Having a really good set of tyres is the best crash prevention you could have. We've just inspected the tyres. Now it only seems right that number 7 is spokes. These have a tendency to come loose, especially if you're hitting lots of rocks and rough areas and staircases and logs. You're definitely going to have spokes coming loose. So I like to spend about 5 minutes on each wheel just making sure that all the spokes are tight and that none are broke. I've seen a lot of negative comments about broken spokes on social media, but I think that most of them could have been prevented had you have just done some spoke maintenance. Number 8 is the brake pads. I always like to just inspect my brake pads to see how much meat's left on there and determine if they'll last another ride or not. If not, then that's another item to add to the list. But otherwise, I know they're fine to go for at least another ride. If you do wear them out too much, they'll damage your disc, and that's the last thing I want to do. I've done that before, and the best way to learn is from your mistakes, because you will never do that again. Personally, I like to keep a good bit of meat on the brake pad, then it gives me less movement on the lever. Just keeps my brakes feeling a lot sharper. Once these brake pads start wearing out, the lever will be nearly pulling into the bar. So I keep these really fresh and change them probably more often than most people would. Finally then, at number 9, we got the headstock bearing. This has come loose on me a few times whilst riding, and it's really annoying. So I like to double check before every ride that this isn't loose. How I do that is I push it forwards and backwards, jam on the brakes, and if I feel any kind of play up here, more than likely the bearing needs tightening. I find this does come loose when you're hitting lots of rocks, logs, going up staircases, coming down big staircases. That's when it's shaking this loose. It's such a simple process, it's so quick. Just undo these 2 bolts, then you can loosen this off a little bit, push it forwards and backwards to make sure it's seated properly, tighten this up some, then again push it forwards and backwards, jam on the brakes, make sure it's seated properly, and then torque it up to the correct spec, and it should be alright for a while. It's definitely a task I have to perform more often than not, that's for sure. Just remember, a well-maintained bike is a healthy bike. If you respect your bike, it's going to respect you back, more often than not. I'm going to wrap this video up there then. I hope you enjoyed these 9 pre-ride maintenance tasks that I perform, and hopefully we shall see you in the future. Moto Machines out.